Remember when the Culkins were all over the front pages of magazines not for the success of their children, but for their intense separation and custody battle? I do. Before we get into it, this is just a brief summarization of the Culkins and the Culkin children. This is not an in-depth video on each person. Okay? Christopher Kit Cornelius Culkin was born on December 6, 1944 in New York City. His father, Philip, worked in public relations and his mother, Marion, was a writer and editor. He had two sisters and one brother, Candace, Bonnie, and Terry. Around the time that Bonnie was born, the family was struggling. Their father's PR firm had gone bankrupt and they lived in a cold water flat, which meant exactly that. Their apartment had no running hot water. Their mother, Marion, passed away when Bonnie was 14, and their father was also in ill health from ulcers. He spent a year in the hospital after his wife's death, leaving the kids to live on their own for that year. With aspirations of being an entertainer, Kit took ballet classes with Bonnie at the School of American Ballet and even appeared on Broadway in Hamlet with Richard Burton. Kit's sister, Bonnie Bedelia Culkin, was born on March 25, 1948, also in New York City. Bonnie had the career that Kit wanted, appearing in productions with the New York City Ballet and even appeared as a regular on the CBS soap opera Love of Life for 6 years. She also worked on Broadway and made her film debut in The Gypsy Moths in 1969. In 1984, she was nominated for a Golden Globe for her starring role in Heart Like a Wheel and even appeared in Die Hard 2. If you watched Parenthood, then you'll be familiar with her role as the matriarch of the Braverman family, Camille. She married scriptwriter Ken Luber in 1969, and they had two sons, Yuri and Jonah. Bonnie and Ken divorced in 1980, and she married actor Michael McRae in 1995. As for Kit, he had his first child, Jennifer Adamson, with Adina Zimmerman in 1970. After the pair split, Adina married Robert Adamson. Jennifer passed away on May 20th, 2000, at the age of 29 due to an overdose. Adina passed away only months later on October 17th after succumbing to injuries she endured after being involved in a car accident. Kit met Patricia Brentrup in 1974 in Sundance, Wyoming when she was directing traffic for a construction site. He stopped his truck and that was that. The pair had their first child, Shane Culkin, 2 years later in New York City. Shane dabbled a bit in stage acting, but for the most part stays out of the public eye. Their second child, Dakota Cody Culkin, was born on June 15, 1978, also in New York City. Dakota was interested in the entertainment industry, but she preferred the production aspect and had worked as a production assistant. In December of 2008, Dakota's life was taken when a car hit her as she was crossing a street in Marina del Rey. She was also only 29 years old. She had just moved from New York to LA to pursue her career in film production. Their third child, Macaulay Culkin, or Mac, or Macaulay Culkin, was born in New York City on August 26, 1980. Mac found success at a very early age, with one of his earliest stage roles being in Bach Babies at the New York Philharmonic. He also took ballet classes at the New York City Ballet and appeared in his first film in 1988, Rocket Gibraltar. But the movie that really shot Mac into stardom was the 1990 holiday classic, Home Alone. By 1992, at the tender age of 12, Mac was pulling in 7-figure deals. He took a few years off to attend a private high school in Manhattan and lived a semblance of a normal life before returning to the stage in 2000 in London's West End. 2003 saw his return to film when he starred in Party Monster and Saved. It was around this time that he struggled a bit and was arrested for possession and found himself in the clink for like a day. But he has turned things around since then. He married actress Rachel Miner in 1998 when they were both 18, but they separated in 2000 and were officially divorced in 2002. He dated Mila Kunis from 2002 to 2010. There's a video on them. And in 2017, he started dating Brenda Song. There's also a video on them. They are engaged, but could also secretly be married and have 2 kids together. He is also the godfather to Paris Prince and Biggie Blanket Jackson. He was just 17 when he was made Paris's godfather. Their fourth child, Kieran Kyle Culkin, was born in New York City on September 30th, 1982, and like Mac, started his career on stage. He started auditioning for roles alongside his older siblings and made his film debut alongside Mac as Fuller McAllister in Home Alone. For someone with so little screen time, he is one of the best characters in the film. Don't argue with me. He continued appearing in blockbuster hits like Home Alone 2, again with Mac, and Father of the Bride. He continued working throughout his teens with his major breakout film Igby Goes Down, premiering in 2002. It was during production for that film that Kieran realized that acting had become his career and it had never been his choice. He took a break from films and took on stage roles in London's West End and made his Broadway debut in 2006. He slowly made his way back to films, appearing in Scorsese's Limelight in 2008. Recently, Kieran has found immense success with his role in Succession and made a splash on the awards circuit this year with his starring role in A Real Pain, which he won an Oscar for. Kieran was previously linked to Anna Paquin and Emma Emily Stone before meeting Jazz Charlton in 2012. They eloped in 2013 and have 2 children together. Their 5th child is Quinn Culkin, who was born in New York City on November 8, 1984. Quinn also dabbled in acting as a child, appearing in Wish Kid and The Good Son with brother Mac. She mostly stays out the spotlight, but is a chef who posts cooking videos on the gram and got engaged in November of 2023. She also showed up to support Mac when he received his star on the Walk of Fame at the end of 2023. Their 6th child is Christian Culkin, who was born in 1987 and also dabbled in acting, appearing in My Summer Story in 1994 alongside Kieran, but he hasn't done much acting since. He also dodges the spotlight, although he did appear as a voice actor in The Second Best Hospital in the Galaxy with his brothers. So that's kind of cool. Their 7th and final child is Rory Hugh Culkin, who was born in New York City on July 21st, 1989. Rory kicked off his acting career by playing the younger version of his older brothers, appearing in The Good Son and Richie Rich with Mac and Igby Goes Down with Kieran. His breakthrough role was in You Can Count on Me alongside Laura Linney in 2000, and he was also in Signs, which is still one of my favorite scary movies. Rory has tended towards independent movies throughout his career, although he has still appeared in major productions like Scream 4, which is where he met future wife, cinematographer Sarah Scrivener. They eloped in April of 2018 in New Orleans. You would think that given how he grew up that Kit would have wanted better for his kids, but no. No, he didn't. The Culkins grew up in a railroad apartment in a tenement on East 94th Street and 2nd Avenue. Kieran said that it was barely suitable for a couple and that it was essentially a hallway with no separating doors save for the bathroom, which didn't have a lock. They raised 7 kids in that apartment for years, he told Vanity Fair. They just kept bringing babies home to this little space. They lived there for the first 9 years of his life. Some of the kids would go to school, some wouldn't. Their parents had friends who ran a small theater, and Kit would willingly offer up his 7 children for their productions. They were essentially props, Kieran recalled. Kit lived vicariously through his kids, using them to establish the life he'd always wanted and never had. Soon he was managing one of the biggest talents of the 90s, something that Max says caused the great divide of the Culkins. As Mac's manager, Kit controlled every aspect of his son's life. In 1993, Premiere Magazine ranked him as the 48th most powerful person in Hollywood, and you best believe he reveled in it. But his hunger for power started causing issues with movie executives, like when he threatened to pull Mac from the Home Alone sequel if he didn't get the lead in The Good Son, which led to Jesse Bradford getting the boot after already being cast in the role of Henry, and the film being postponed for a year. In 1994, after completing Richie Rich, Mac told his parents he wanted out, and that's when everything took a drastic turn. Patty and Kit's relationship was barely hanging by a thread when she filed papers in New York State Supreme Court seeking full custody of the kids and the right to manage their careers. In her filing, she said that she and Kit had been separated in the past due to his excessive drinking, physical abuse, and unfaithful behavior. Kit denied the claims. The pair had previously managed the kids' careers together, splitting a 15% commission of their wages, with the rest put into a trust. Patty was initially awarded custody, but a judge reversed the ruling shortly after, awarding them shared custody and management rights pending their next hearing on September 14th. But Patty kept fighting, and her lawyer's fees continued to pile up to the point where she wasn't able to make rent and the family was on the verge of eviction. Mac took matters into his own hands and petitioned to have both his parents' names removed from his trust and an executor put in their place to manage his funds. It didn't make sense to him even at 14 that his mother was struggling while he had millions sitting there. The media had a field day with Mac's move to take over his trust, claiming that he was emancipated from his parents. But it was nothing like that, he said. He just wanted to help his mom. As far as the kids were concerned, they didn't want their dad around. One babysitter noted that Kit had been gone for weeks and the kids didn't even notice. It didn't help that he laid hands on Patty, even threatening to throw her over a balcony when she accused him of cheating. Allegedly. But then, shortly after the judge's ruling for joint custody, things took another dark turn. The family was staying in Red Lodge, Montana, where Kieran was filming the movie Amanda. Patty and Kit had rented separate houses, which the kids took turns staying at. All was well until the evening of July 30th, when Kit awoke from a nap and found that he was alone. He was enraged. He phoned Patty's house where the kids were with their nanny Dominique. He told them he was coming to get them. The kids ran to a neighbor's house to hide when Kit appeared and started banging on the door. The nanny called 911. By the time the sheriff arrived, Kit was gone, but Mac told him that he and Kit had gotten into a shouting match when he told his father he didn't want to go with him. Kit had also thrown a fit on the set of Amanda when he felt like he wasn't given enough time to help Kieran rehearse. After this incident, his visitation was limited to twice a week, and he had to petition the court each time he wanted to see his kids. Meanwhile, Patty said that while she had been negotiating Kieran's role in the film, she was told by their agents that if Kit attempted to deliberately botch the deal as he had done in the past, no one in Hollywood would want to work with their kids again. They were right to be concerned, as Kit did try to withdraw his parental consent from the movie as a way to assert his authority. The Culkin custody saga would finally end in 1997 when Patty was awarded sole custody of her minor children. Kit was awarded reasonable visitation with the younger kids, but wasn't allowed to visit with the older kids until family therapy had healed his relationship with them. That would never happen, though, as Mac and Kieran had no desire to see him. Where is Kit now? Well, he essentially lives in exile in a small house in Grants Pass, Oregon. His longtime partner passed away in 2017. We don't know much about him. Do we really care to know much about him? I don't think so. Patty went on to marry Mark Cox in 2012, but she has been struggling with health issues as of late. Mac hasn't spoken to his father since 1997, and he has said that his earliest memories of Kit were that when he grew up, he would not be that way with his own kids. He believes that Kit resented his success and the fact that he surpassed his father's career aspirations by the age of 10. I hope you liked this one. Thanks for watching. If you did, don't forget to follow me on the gram and the tube of the U just in case this app disappears for my American followers. I also have stickers, pins, and bookmarks if you're so inclined. Good day, and may the cult be with you.